Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Sunday the 9th of March 2014. I'm your host Dan Train. Joining me today, Robert Kemp. And Zachary Burgess.
That was no kind of word at all.
Does it have to be a word?
I think normally
That's a
when
no.
you get introduced, you have to say something. A word of some kind.
If you do the sort of sound to like, isn't that just H like HMM like
That doesn't still not necessarily make it a word.
It doesn't still not necessarily. It's true.
I don't know, because that's is a word now.
Oh, you're not going to
Like-
fucking Google search whether is a word.
I don't know. It sounds like one of those things that sort of might be.
See, it's Urban
No,
Dictionary.
it is only Urban Dictionary. Or it's on the Wiktionary.
If it's on Wiktionary, that's closer. You want it to be in the like OED or something.
Okay, alternate spelling of MHM.
What does it
Of
mean?
course. Doesn't mean
It's a
anything.
definition.
There's quite a lot of alternative forms. This entry lacks etymological information.
Where does it come from? The word
It's
I
not
don't
a
know if
word.
it's a word. Yeah.
It doesn't actually tell you what it means. Just that there are many alternate forms that have like dashes and spaces and stuff.
Who's added all these forms? Who's gone onto like a wiki that's for definitions of words, and then just added all the like variations on?
There's a Yahoo Answers page basically saying, "Is this how you spell?"
Well, there's a bunch of Yahoo Answers favours there.
Why does mean yes? Or...
How do you spell okay when you're writing it in the sentence?
That's a good question. Because should you write it with the dots, but or shouldn't you? Because it
Capitals?
doesn't stand for anything, does it?
Oh, yeah,
No, it
what
doesn't.
would it stand for if it didn't? If you add dots?
I feel
What
like
does the O stand for in OK?
well, apparently, yeah.
What
I
does
don't
the
know.
K stand for in OK?
Key. Okie key.
Okie key.
It's the O from Okie and then the key from Doki, maybe.
Right. Okay.
I often see it written as OKAY, all lowercase.
Oh no, yeah,
Well,
I've
yeah,
seen that.
That's the standard.
Is that the standard though?
What I
Because if
call
you're
the
if you're
standard.
using Windows or something and it's OK and cancel, then it's capital OK, no dots.
The first recorded moment in print, it was spelt OK capitals with no punctuation.
There you
So
go.
like just OK. The spelling OK developed sometime later.
What
So
with
actually
the
take
AY?
anything at all.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't tell you what it means.
Nope. It's bizarre. It's a word that's not a word that's become a word.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It's dench.
It's dench. The fuck is dench mean? That with a D. Dench, like Judy Dench.
Yeah, I can't remember
Oh, it's
who it
so
was.
dense.
It's some British rapper was
Totally
trying to
dench.
make that a thing.
Stop
It's
trying to
totally
make
dench.
fetch a thing.
Yeah, it's totally dench.
So fetch, so dench. What could that mean though?
It might be lethal bizzle.
Lethal bizzle. As
So the
opposed to
bizzle-
like I don't know, slightly less dangerous bizzle. Non-lethal bizzle.
Threatening bizzle.
Plastic bizzle.
Pacifist bizzle. But that'd be like So Bizzle Crew or something. They'd have to have some kind of or the Bizzle family
So dench crew.
at home with the Bizzles. And this is my my son, Foshizzle Bizzle.
I wonder if there's anyone called Foshizzle. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere someone ended up with a name
Or if-
like that.
Or if there's some name that could be pronounced some other way that when you like just read it, it looks like Foshizzle. Like my name
Like
is
Foshizzle.
Foshizzle.
Of course.
It could be like FO apostrophe German Scheisel or something.
German Scheisel.
I'm not sure if no apostrophe is a very German start to a name.
Or maybe it's like a double-barreled surname or something, like someone marries someone with a surname Faux, marries someone called Scheisel, and then they end up being the Faux Scheisels. I'm pretty sure you still wouldn't read that as the Faschizzles, would you? Because it would just look like Scheisel if it was German.
The Fagerbles. Nope.
The Fagerbels.
For German jizzle. The German shizzle.
The German jizzle. Jizzle pizzle. Hello.
Hello. How you doing, listeners? Hope you're enjoying our show so far. This is a podcast about video games.
Really?
Supposedly. What have we got in video game news this week? Anything good?
Not anything particularly juicy. I've got a theoretical corrections column.
Oh, corrections. What have we done that's dumb this time?
Well,
What have we theoretically done?
Well, I'm not 100% sure on this one. Because, we talked about Evolve last time, briefly.
Mm.
I think we sort of may have said that it was by the Left 4 Dead guys, or something related to Left 4 Dead, but
Right.
I'm a bit confused as to what that game is actually, what the situation is with that, because it's not actually anything to do with Valve at all. It's
Right.
Take-Two that have got ownership of it. So whether that means the Left 4 Dead guys have moved, like it is the same team, but they're not working for Valve, or Valve isn't publishing it, or I don't really know. So ultimately, it's a correction from something we thought we said to something we know nothing about.
Well, it would strike me as odd if Left 4 Dead team members were... not many people leave Valve, do they? I guess some people get bored and want to start their own thing, but often
Maybe
it's like mod makers that end up working for Valve and then they just stay there, right? And make awesome stuff.
So honestly, I don't know. Maybe that team felt they could do it on their own, or maybe it's like a spiritual successor.
But I think Left 4 Dead
kind.
3 might well be in development. Who knows?
Valve don't do threes.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. They need new IP then, because they're running out now. Is there anything they need a sequel to?
Left
Oh yeah,
5
Ricochet.
Dead.
They need to do Ricochet too, of course.
Oh yeah.
There was a
Did
Gabe
you-
Newell AMA the other day, I think.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know what was new.
Was every question, where's Half-Life 3?
No, because people
Where's
know.
Half-Life 3? Gabe, where's Half-Life 3?
I think one of the questions was, where is Ricochet 2? Which is what a lot of people refer to Half-Life 3 as, which is quite funny. Yeah. No. I don't know what the highlights were.
Theoretical news!
Steers clear of Half-Life 3 chat is the headline. What a surprise.
So yeah, don't know what's happening there. And that's my theoretical corrections column over. There's a new Batman game coming.
Yeah, Arkham Knight. So, and it's Rocksteady are back. I mean, I didn't understand what's been going on with Rocksteady, because, like, weren't they talking about doing, like, a Silver Age Batman thing? Or was that what turned into the last Arkham game? Or what?
Well, no,
what the
because
hell happened to
Rocksteady
that?
weren't involved with Arkham Origins at all.
No, they weren't, no.
It's kind of Arkham Origins is kind of considered a spin-off, in a way. It's like it's in the canon, but it's like
It's a
not,
prequel, right?
Yeah, not important to the main plot.
But you inexplicably have all the abilities that you have at the end of the...
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, and it's just Arkham City again, pretty much.
Yeah, we don't want that. I mean, it was good, but done it once. Need something else.
Yeah. Which is
So
basically
what's the
what people
deal?
have been saying. Well, so the deal with this one is there's supposedly you can drive the Batmobile now.
But hang on, wait a sec. What I still want to know what happened to that Silver Age game. Did they cancel that?
Yeah. I don't know. I reckon they must have done, or whoever publishes. I guess it's Warner Brothers directly, isn't it?
Yeah.
That Warner Brothers probably didn't want it or something, or perhaps like, but Arkham's a success. What are you doing? We want a third game.
Maybe. Or fourth game in this case, technically.
Yeah.
But yeah, third game from Rocksteady. But so this is set immediately after, well, like a little after Arkham
pretty
City,
soon
right?
after Arkham City, yeah.
Okay. And you could drive the Batmobile. Okay,
You
great.
can drive the Batmobile, yeah. And the city will be like free of pedestrians again because they've all been evacuated because of something.
Well, so it's for some excuse to have, but it's going to be like 5 times bigger, right? Because it's going to need to be bigger. If
People analysing the trailer seem to think that they seem to have increased the size of Arkham, and the buildings look taller. So
Right.
what that tells you.
Well, they couldn't be that tall in Arkham City because you had to sort of climb on them and then jump off them, right? And glide.
But now maybe you have like a fancy seat in the Batmobile that just fires you into the sky.
Man, that'd be awesome.
Cool.
Ejector seat. That'd be so cool. But why would you
Because
bother with
that's
the car if you could just fly everywhere?
This is the thing, yeah. It's like Batman can fly, so why would you need to drive? I suppose driving could be faster if you're like covering really long distances, but
Be just be for driving missions.
yeah.
What sort of driving missions are you going to come up with for the Batmobile?
Yeah, and the trailer's all CG, but people are apparently saying it's like, the streets look wider than they did in the earlier stuff, so maybe they're having to make room for driving stuff.
Maybe. I mean, it'd be quite good to have all of Gotham rather than just like this sort of weird corner that's like walled off into a prison.
Mm.
But
That'd
what
be
does
quite
all
nice.
of Gotham even mean? Is there any actual landmarks in Gotham that make it famous? You know, anything that you'd recognise from previous Batman works?
Well,
not
really.
I guess not in the mainstream. I guess the fans of the comic, there may be some places, but
That's the
Like,
thing. There's
where's
so
Wayne
many
Towers?
variations on the comic as well. It's like,
but where's Wayne Towers?
well, I guess that exists, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
main.
That's just like a generic mansion, though, isn't it?
No. There's the mansion.
Oh, you mean the company headquarters?
Yeah, and then, where's the mansion? That's another thing. Yeah,
Wayne Manor, Wayne Towers,
Wayne Manor. Yeah.
and the Batcave, and Arkham itself, the asylum, and the Blackgate prison, and that's pretty much the extent of it, right? Otherwise, it's like Chicago combined with New York, and really at night.
Yeah, like
Because that's what they say is that Metropolis is New York, but during the day, and Gotham is New York, but at night. That was the idea.
There isn't even any like landmarks in any of the films or anything. It's just like generic, boring streets.
Now they have Wayne Towers in the first Batman film.
Yeah, you can see
Batman
it.
Begins. It's a big.
Across
Well,
the
it's where the Death Train is headed at the end of it. And it's,
They completely changed the city after Begins because it was quite sort of CG and crazy in Begins, and like in the Dark Knight, it was basically just Chicago, right? Pretty much, except shot in a way that it wasn't too recognizable.
same with the last one. The last one just looks like a pretty regular city.
Yeah, although it looks a bit strange because you see the kind of outline of the city more in the last one, and it looks more weird and made up because it is.
And then you see the actual shots, and it looks pretty. I'd say it looks kind of New Yorky.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's because it's in a harbor, I guess. So there's like docks and stuff. That seems to be important in Batman. There's lots of dock workers and criminals and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, but we haven't got much info on this. But I mean, Rocksteady did a really great job with the first. I think the first one is one of my favorite games of that whole generation of consoles.
Well, it's just how much can they actually push it? This
yeah,
time,
I don't know because like
left. Who wasn't in City? Was the Penguin in City?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, because he's back.
He's back. Yeah, he was quite good though. Two-Face was in. Yeah, Two-Face was in City. I think they've used a lot of them, but they'll have to come up with something because they can't use the Joker because of Mark Hamill not being in it.
Well, they can. They've got the voice actor from who they got to do the Injustice work was
yeah,
fine.
That's true.
He's
but I
pretty good.
think they might have. Did you get to the end of Arkham City? Because I think they probably
I haven't,
put a stop
no.
to that stuff.
I do know what happens, but I haven't, and I do not think they'll stay in that situation.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like they do say that this is going to be the last of the Arkham arc,
Yep.
Arkham arc.
The Arkham arc.
So, this is the last of this storyline, so the last Rocksteady will do with this. And then maybe they'll do their Silver Age game. Maybe they did, or maybe they just weren't happy with the way Silver Age is coming out and said this needs more time. Fuck it, let's shit out another Arkham game.
I hope it's not shit out, though, because I hope it'll be good. I don't know what they can do. I guess one of the key points was that it's not appearing on the old generation. So it's only a next-gen and PC game.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's good. So that means, we can at least expect, I don't know, moreness.
So that is a good news. So that's cool.
I suppose there's when we were talking about next-gen games, there was the thing that, Watch Dogs released a new trailer.
Oh, yeah.
But
and I hope that turns out to be good. I mean,
here's the thing: the sort of visuals of that shot are noticeably degraded from some of the stuff they've already shown.
All right. Is it running on Xbox One or something?
Well, I don't know. We don't know what it's running on there. Ubisoft haven't really commented. So but it is. Don't forget, the Watch Dogs is getting a PS3 and a 360 release.
All right.
So the current theory is that this stuff comes from that version of the game. But then why would you do that?
Why would you show that? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just managing expectations or something. It seems odd, though. But, I mean, I was never that excited about Watch Dogs, and a lot of people I know seem to be really think that's the game.
I was at first, but the more I sort of saw of it, the more I sort of thought, well, it's just kind of Assassin's Creed, really. And then I played more Assassin's Creed games, and then got bored of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
So my interest in it has waned thanks to Assassin's Creed.
I'm definitely not. I'm open
I think
to
had it come
good.
out at launch, as the launch game, that everyone seemed to be gunning for, and then it got delayed till May. I think it is end of May now.
Right. Yeah.
I think if it had come out then, or then maybe things would have been different. Maybe people would have been a bit more psyched for it. I think people are crap. This is the next gen game, but
that's true. But I've noticed people being really excited about it, and it slightly mystifies me. I don't really get it, but fair enough. I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
it's a sort of cool world. Assassin's Creed may put people off with its sort of historical stance, whereas this is, it's hard to not like something set in a sort of modern era, if you know what I mean. Because we all kind of live in it. There's something a bit more.
That's true. Yeah.
There's something you can latch to, I guess, more so than Rome. Ancient Rome.
Well, it's not ancient Rome. Yeah, but yeah. It's middle Rome. Middle Rome. Yeah.
Rome of yore.
Rome of yore. Exactly. That Rome.
The yore era.
My era? No, your.
When is your?
So, Watch Dogs. So May, okay. So
May
I'm not.
I want to say.
If they need more time to finish a game, then I think it's a brave decision to. I mean, that's quite a big chunk. If they'd released it, imagine how unfinished it would have been if they'd released it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, so.
Oh yeah, but then I wonder if all that time is on the exclusive content for PS4.
Of course it isn't. That's only a single hour of content.
I don't know how long it takes to make.
Best hour ever.
It's probably
it's just like a giant warehouse level filled with each individual model of everyone who made the game, modelled out in full 3D and animating. That's what they spent all that time on.
That'd be awesome.
That would be quite an extreme.
I'd pay for that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I've lost kind of interest in it.
Well, you never know. It might be good. And then, I mean, people were pleasantly surprised by
play an Assassin's Creed-like game. Maybe I'll go to that rather than to 3.
Yeah, I mean, people were very pleasantly surprised by Assassin's Creed 4. Because they were saying, the dev team was saying they were kind of more influenced by the Black Flag dev team was saying they were kind of more influenced by the Far Cry 3 guys than they were by the Assassin's Creed 3 guys. which I can kind of see in the gameplay, I guess. But I guess Watch Dogs will be more traditional Assassin's Creed. Although it is kind of an open world, right? You can drive around the city and shit.
Yeah,
or at least that was in the original.
It's you know, it's you've got to think of it like an Assassin's Creed game from that perspective. You know, it is you're going to have the city to do stuff in. You'll get a mission, go to a place.
It's like, will you be able to do stuff? That's the question.
Yeah, how much stuff is there to do?
It's like in Assassin's Creed, you can run wherever the fuck you want, but all you're doing in that case is just going to some kind of collectible. It's not like Grand Theft Auto where there's theoretically other like shitty mini games and shit that you can go to, I guess.
I don't know, yeah, I guess in Assassin's Creed, yeah, you're either trying to get to the top of something, find a collectible, or get to a mission marker to do something.
To do an actual mission, yeah.
Oh, I mean, occasionally, perhaps in the later games, you stumble upon like the peasants in trouble, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that are just sort of in the world. They're not like a mission marker, but you can choose to just run by them, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't know. There's kind of stuff to do in Assassin's Creed. We don't really need to do any of it. And like some of the Assassin's Creed stuff, you ended up having to do in, I don't know, was it Brotherhood and Revelations? Was kind of maintenance stuff, like tearing down posts or lowering your wanted level.
Posted wanted level thing. That was okay. It was just a bit easy, that part of the mechanic, but that was clearly the best way. Right, was just the posters.
Just find the posters, or if you're incredibly I did the bribery option quite a lot because it's a bit faster if someone's nearby.
Right, yeah.
And you had so much fucking money, it didn't matter.
That's true. Money.
I never used that mechanic really, like the throw money.
Yeah. Yeah, I never released it to actually. You're supposed to use it to distract people and stuff, right? And like cause a commotion.
In theory, you can use it to distract guards, but I forget how I used to do the guard distractions. But it wasn't with money.
Was it with prostitutes?
Oh, yes, it was. It was with hoes. Good old hoes.
So useful.
News. I still have a cough. That's news.
What's going on with illnesses over in Suffolk land? Did I hear that Zach had the flu or some shit?
Yep.
The actual flu?
Well, maybe. I don't know.
I
How are you meant to tell?
I don't know.
You go to the doctor or anything.
How bedridden were you?
Yeah, that's what matters. Like, if you can't get out of bed, then you might have the actual flu.
Yeah. The only time I think I've had flu was like a week-long freshers flu, and that was pretty rad.
Rad. Oh man, so rad.
I basically slept for a week.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't think I've had it as an adult anyway. No, maybe I've never had the flu.
The annoying thing was that I'm fairly sure I got it off like my job centre advisor. I went in there for my stupid appointment.
How close are you to your job centre advisor?
Well, I went in there for a stupid appointment and we were just talking about stuff. And he was like complaining about
That's how it starts.
He was complaining about how much spam he gets on his phone because it started ringing in the middle of our appointment. And he's like, oh, it's another spam. I was like, yeah, I get tons of spam on my phone as well. And then he was like, yeah, I made the mistake of last week while I was ill lying in bed of picking up my phone by accident. And then I was like, and that was the end of that story. And then, like, the next day, I was hella ill. I was like, motherfucker!
Motherfucker.
He came back to work not fully recovered and infected me.
Job centre.
How are they going to get you into work if they keep infecting you with diseases and shit? It's not going to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Dear me.
I like that. I like that they. Perhaps he's on your side, you know. He's like bringing you in. It's like, I know the job's bad, but we can't hold it against you. If we make you ill, yeah.
You're ill, no one can stop you. Apart from the illness. So I slept a lot this week. More so than usual.
How much more than usual?
Quite a lot more than usual.
I mean, the one bit of news Zach was trying to convey to me earlier was, hey, did you hear about that Sony guy? Which Sony guy? Don't know.
I know. You know what? I know the guy. I just can't remember specifically.
Are you out of it then still? Are you like hyped up on,
Not really.
up on codeine?
That guy left Sony.
That guy.
One of the important guys.
Did he?
Not Kaz.
Not Kaz.
Was he a Japanese guy?
No, one of the US ones.
US
Not
guy.
Jack Tretton?
Yeah, I think that might be it.
Really? Jack Tretton?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh man, shit, right, look at this up.
Now Rob actually has to go and look it up.
Yeah.
To make this non-theoretical news.
If it was the other guy, the other American guy, then perhaps I wouldn't have cared so much because I didn't know what he did. Jack Tretton, though, that's kind of a big deal.
Do you really know what he does apart from the stage stuff?
No.
Yeah.
But, you know. Search for Jack Tretton leaves. PlayStation boss leaves Sony. He does, yeah.
Xbox boss praises outgo PlayStation executive. I'm sure he does. Good job leaving your job, Mr. PlayStation guy. That's helping us at Xbox a lot.
Yeah, so he was the head of Skier.
All right. What is that the European one? No.
No, that's America. Sony
Oh yeah,
Computer
Entertainment America.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But he probably
no more epic, no more very classy apologies. I should say, not epic, quite epic, classy apologies. If Sony were to fuck up again, they'd have to have some guy who's more convincing than Jack Tretton, and that sounds hard. I know. Let's get Don Matrick.
Totally.
Oh dear. I wonder how he's doing at Zynga.
Not well, I'd imagine. I don't think. Who's heard of Zynga?
I haven't.
No, I mean seriously though, what have they done like in the last?
I think I saw.
Year or so.
Oh no, that's not Zynga.
Other than I think they're buying up gambling companies,
right?
Like online casinos and stuff.
Like, how's the law going on there? Because like in Britain, you can do online gambling and stuff, and what is it on mobiles and everything. In America, you can't do it because of the law, but it's gradually changing. I think.
Yeah, I think they have difficulties because of the state laws or something that they can't like monitor it so good. So
right.
They just outlaw it or have done historically.
Yeah, because some states have different restrictions than others, and so if you have an online system, then that's not going to respect any kind of state boundary. So I guess they just don't bother. But if they change that, then suddenly there's a ton of money to be made off suckers.
Yeah. Okay, I guess Zynga could be buying up European gambling companies. I don't know.
Yeah.
I suppose is poker the exception in America?
I think they fought it at least once. They had to make some kind of special arrangements for poker, I think. Because there aren't even that many of them.
Because there's shit tons of them in the UK.
Yeah.
There's so many, online poker and shit. And people actually use it, like normal people.
It's slightly scary, actually. Have you seen those ads, like, recently about that guy? There's basically an advert of the life of a gambling addict. Because he's basically, like, every opportunity he has. He steps into a lift, picks up his phone, plays a round of speed poker, and finishes it by the time he reaches the top of the lift. And basically this ad goes on, like, every situation where he's got a single second of spare time, he's playing poker, and it's like, you've got a problem, mate.
Well, that's what they want, bastards.
But I'm surprised they let an ad like that through, if you know what I mean, when it's just like, just look at it, it's like, that's not a good thing.
Unless he's really awesome at poker.
Well, if you're super amazing at it, or it's a free-to-play, you don't have to bet poker game, sure, why not? But I doubt that there are, I don't know, would the online gambling sites run free-to-play poker?
They would, but it's no fun unless you're making real money, right?
That's why I've never played like any poker game ever. Well, really?
I think you're doing well.
Like, where's the fun? Part of poker is being able to play it with your mates and psych them out.
Yeah, I don't really understand online poker because surely the whole game of poker is about like judging people. Yeah, judging people's reactions and stuff. Otherwise, it's just like.
Unless they have to have like mandatory webcams and a judge overseeing the game and like saying, no, your webcam's looking at your balls. We can't judge by your ball twitches. It's whether you're bluffing or not.
Your ball twitches. I have seen they do roulette where they just videoing. So at the gambling company, they have somebody with an actual roulette wheel on a camera.
Okay, well, that's kind of cool because that rules out
all your RNG stuff, or whatever, flaws in your algorithms and stuff. If you have an actual roulette wheel.
Well, the reasons why slot machines are shitters, that kind of stuff. Not random gameplay.
Yep.
I used to know someone who, on certain fruities, as they're called, would be able to see the pattern coming for when it would pay out the jackpot. Like, so you'd notice certain rounds and certain sequences, and you'd be like, it's going to go jackpot this time. And it would. Like, the couple of times he showed me, like, when he thought it was going to happen, it totally happened. And it's like, well, these machines aren't random in any way then.
No. I guess you'd have to watch it for ages, but then you'd just get chucked out of the pub, wouldn't you, if you just hit the jackpot every time? You just always.
He was an employee, so
that's the thing.
It would have been a bit difficult.
Yeah,
the employee bonus.
Yeah, well, the machines weren't owned by the company at the time, so it was they were brought in from an outside. So it's probably okay, but that doesn't mean you could just sit there watching it like from where we used to be.
I'm sure it doesn't bother the company that supplies the machine because they get all the other people's money.
Yeah, exactly, because it was going to pay out anyway. So he would be, you could watch, if he was watching the guys like lose the money and know how long it would be until the next payout, then the games company aren't losing anything.
No.
I guess they might be losing if the people that come into the pub start thinking that the machine never pays out because the guy who works in the pub is always getting them.
Yeah,
and then they stop playing, and then there's no more money.
That's true.
That's the only possible.
You'd have to like say like, oh, I've made enough of it off it for this week or something. Like, let it lie for a while. let some punters just take it, and then.
Well, I'm sure he couldn't be there for every single time.
Exactly,
He was probably working.
Yeah.
Some of the times it would happen. He could just quickly jump over the bar and make it over there and be like, no, my turn.
Bagsy.
There you go.
He'd like be lining the pounds up on the machine like people waiting to play DDR. And then...
That would be so specific. So, Zynga. So that's exactly what Don Matrick is doing these days. Yeah. He's watching the pattern and then he's going, it's jackpot time. It's like, too late.
You missed
the boat.
You missed it. What did Zynga make?
I can't remember now.
Oh, Farmville, wasn't it? It's fucking Farmville.
And Words with Friends and all that jazz.
Well, they bought Words with Friends.
They buy everything though, right? And then they just copy everything slavishly, right?
And then they bought, what's it called? Draw Something, just as Draw Something died.
Yep.
Yeah, they do it just, yeah.
They are the kings of bad timing.
I wonder how many Flappy Birds coins they have.
Yeah. Well, no, there's probably a Flappy Bird slot machine they've made or something.
Yeah, almost certainly.
Flappy slots. That sounds so wrong.
That does sound wrong.
Go and have a game of Flappy slots.
Oh God. Right. Oh, so news.
News. Oh, what else is happening? You had that thing about Naughty Dog.
Oh right, yes. Lady, woman,
someone left.
Someone left Naughty Dog. That's the one.
Hennig, I think it was. Yeah, got quote forced out from Naughty Dog.
Supposedly, but then Naughty Dog have come back and said, "Oh no, it's not as bad as it looks" or something. But she has left, I think. But yeah, she was a writer on Uncharted and stuff, like quite a main person, I think, because I remember seeing her in like behind the scenes stuff on. Sure. I don't know if Uncharted 2 had like a behind the scenes documentary you could watch, like in the options.
I think it was Uncharted 2. Yeah, you unlocked that stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And that was really good. And she was talking about how, the writing and the characterization.
It was all the interesting stuff about the mocap and the Or performance capture, I suppose.
Yeah, all that stuff. So I think it was her on 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Or I don't know if she worked on The Last of Us. I presume she probably did, but...
Yeah, probably in some capacity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what else are they doing? But...
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Unless you worked on the Vita game, but...
But I don't know what this means for like Uncharted, because they've announced a new Uncharted, right? So
yeah, there's a new Uncharted in the works, and they've also announced a bundle pack of 1, 2, and 3 coming to PS4.
Right? Yeah. I don't know if they'll change the graphics.
No, they haven't. I don't know if they're gonna do a graphical update.
I mean, it must be quite hard just to port them to a different architecture for a start. But I guess you've got a lot of power to play with, so you can just sort of emulate it to some extent, I guess.
Yeah, I guess if they're upping PS3 and putting it on PS4, you could probably make quite a lot of cock-ups and it'd be okay. Or, shit efficiency routines to replace Cell. But,
yeah.
And you'd probably still have loads of headroom to mess with.
Hopefully. Who knows? Although emulators are, well...
I doubt they'd emulate it. I just think they could probably do a lazy port and get away with it.
Yeah. It's an interesting company because they focus so heavily on, all their games are Sony PS3 whatever based, so they are really the experts in that architecture. So it must be a big move for them in a way that it probably isn't for a lot of other developers who are used to the PC platform.
And how many of those Naughty Dog members moved to work on Sonic Boom? What's happened? Is the core of Naughty Dog dead?
I hope they're all working on Sonic Boom. That'd be hilarious.
A dark and gritty Sonic adventure set in a post-apocalyptic zombie-filled world.
I don't know.
Indiana Jones temples.
Yeah, they could do fun though, as is evidenced by, Uncharted at various times. So, but yeah, so she's leaving.
There's also a film coming apparently of The Last of Us.
Right. Why?
But then again, we hear a lot of news like that, and not a lot has really surfaced.
Yeah.
Like the Assassin's Creed film is apparently still going ahead. But
really?
How fucking long has that been churning around?
None of these films make any sense. I think maybe
what's happening to Halo?
A Blomkamp Halo film could have been good back in the day, but I mean, I actually sort of rather he made District 9 than the Halo film, so that worked out well.
And Elysium. That was him.
Yeah, sure. I think it could have been not that great. It could have been okay. I mean, I think if you had somebody really good behind it, it could have been good. But I don't know. But it's unnecessary.
Last we heard of that stuff is it's now morphed into like a TV thing as part of the Xbox.
Yeah, the Steven Spielberg thing, right? Because we watched that sort of weird miniseries thing, and that was
Forward Unto Dawn. It was okay,
Forward Unto Dawn.
But
yeah, it was okay. It was quite weird, especially when Master Chief or whoever it was. Was it Master Chief?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Master Chief.
When Master Chief appeared, he looked somehow he just looked like a fan in a suit rather than from a convention, rather than like.
I think that suit is kind of a hard thing to actually pull off in real life without it looking like that. You know what I mean? Because it is that is kind of how it would be in that design, I suppose.
That's the trouble, but you've got to find a way around.
So, with the lights all over it and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think it's
perhaps it would need a redesign, but then you're redesigning the suit.
Yes,
and that's not something you really do in Halo.
I guess
than that one time they did after Halo 1, but
yeah. I think if it needed it, I don't know. It just didn't look very convincing. But anyway, that was just a sort of mini-series. I mean, it obviously had a reasonable budget, but presumably the TV thing that they're doing will have...
Depends if they follow Master Chief or if they follow some other characters we know about.
Yeah, but they'll probably need the occasional Spartan, I guess.
Yeah, what if they went back to the ODST squad and had Nathan Fillion? Because, shit, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a bit fat these days.
All that castle work is keeping you out of shape.
Yeah, because you're just
sitting there writing and detecting. It's not the same as exploring the galaxy for dodgy trade.
Indeed.
And stuff.
Anyway, I don't think we need a Last of Us film, particularly.
I don't know. I don't know how well it would adapt. Maybe if they made a bigger deal of the bigger plot, maybe it could redeem what I didn't like about the games. Maybe, But
trying to think what games I would actually want to see film of. I think I would quite like a really lavish Pixar treatment of like Grim Fandango.
GTA. Pixar does GTA.
No, yeah, I don't think Grand Theft Auto needs to be a film.
What about Far Cry 3? Could that be done?
That hasn't even got a very good plot, really,
No,
and it's also really weird, and questionable. Like, it's a really good game, but that mostly when you're off on your own, shooting bases up and stuff. Rather than, I mean, the character's good. The baddie, he would be a good screen character probably. But
what about the Batman games? Just because they could throw every villain ever into it.
Yeah, but you've already got Batman films. That doesn't really,
which are pretty great.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. Infamous might have potential. But I'm saying that the plot in the Infamous game I've played was
but just the concept. You don't
very
need
good. But yeah, the concept.
You can write your own plot or whatever and your own storyline.
I think Assassin's Creed could be fairly sound as a plot if they didn't use the plots from the games.
Yeah, actually,
as a concept, Assassin's Creed is kind of cool.
Yeah, actually, thinking about it, Assassin's Creed could work as a film. You'd have to not try and fit into the canon of Assassin's Creed because that would be a nightmare. You'd have to say, this is the film universe. But that could work.
Because they could have done something good with Prince of Persia, but then they made that mediocre.
Oh, Christ, yeah, I forgot.
It was okay, but it was okay, but it wasn't great. Hence why we haven't heard from it again.
Yeah,
they could. What if they tried to do Tomb Raider again, but base it on the reboot?
Yeah, that might happen. I mean, they'll probably need to get a new Tomb Raider star before.
Oh yeah, because that's probably not going to fit the role anymore. But
no, it's fairly bankable, I would say. Though Tomb Raider, you could probably make some, because even for people who haven't played the game, you can still rely on the previous films to give you a fan base or whatever, or come and see this. It's the summer. Sit inside in the dark for 2 hours and watch things explode. Yeah, although it's really meat-headed, you'd have to think of a way to make it less ridiculously macho or something, or make that funny or something. I don't know, but it can't be funny.
It would just be
serious.
The Expendables against Locust, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Anyway, films.
It would be an Arnie film. If we were 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, I suppose, in the 80s, and Arnie was making those action films still, Gears of War would be an Arnie film.
Yeah. But Arnie films are if you think about them, they're not that... Gears of War is such a massive scale, and there's millions of the hordes of what they call the bad guys.
Well, yeah, not necessarily in the first game. The first game is actually kind of compact in a way.
Yeah, that's true. But it's Arnie films like Predator or something, or Terminator.
I suppose.
It's just one dude, really.
Commando.
Commando, yeah. Commando is so stupid, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one where she accidentally fires the rocket launcher backwards, right? Because she doesn't know which way to point it. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so dumb.
I'm pretty sure that happens.
Anyway. I saw that former Governor Schwarzenegger is doing... is got so into Reddit that now he's just making videos where he drives his tank over stuff. And he's just playing that. So, yeah. It's it's called Will It Crush. It's Will It Blend, but with Arnie in a tank.
That is cool.
Oh, ridiculous.
Call of Duty? No.
No, Christ. I hope that doesn't happen. That almost certainly will happen, though, right? Because that's such a massive...
Well, they were talking about a Mass Effect thing at one point.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, maybe that could work, but you perhaps can't do it on the scale of, or the same storyline that the games followed again. Perhaps use the world, but... Well, I don't know. Maybe you could. Maybe you'd have to simplify a lot of it, but...
Because Mass Effect is still even after 3 games, it's still kind of almost generic sci-fi in some ways. Generic hard sci-fi. you could adapt I don't know. You don't actually get that many adaptations of hard sci-fi stuff, like, Larry Niven stuff. Like, there's no Ringworld film. Although that could make a good film, probably. You'd have to pitch it, because in the old days, you wouldn't be able to pitch it because it would just be ridiculously big and no one had heard of it, and it would make those. But, I mean, with the success of stuff like, I don't know, Lord of the Rings or whatever, then it's probably easier to do more epic stuff. Pitch it these days. And the way that just generally, like, fantasy and sci-fi stuff is in at the moment with, like, Game of Thrones and stuff, it's probably easier to...
And all the Marvel films, let's not forget.
Yeah, exactly. So it's probably easier to do it now than you could have done in the past.
Dead or Alive? Oh, wait.
Oh, Christ. Anyway, let's move into other news, because this could go on forever, thinking of films that you can make out of games. There's probably quite a few.
Mario. Any of them.
No, they already did that. Wait. Oh, God.
Devil May Cry? Maybe?
That probably is an anime, right? I would have thought.
Don't know. Castlevania? Maybe? Again, probably someone's done something with that at some point.
None of those games there actually have any kind of actual story.
Well, the Lords of Shadow stuff does.
No, it doesn't. It has a dumb game story. It doesn't actually have a proper...
I know, but you don't necessarily take the story from the game in these.
Yeah, but then it's just a generic universe. It's like Castlevania is just Dracula.
I guess.
That's it.
Yeah.
It is,
another goddamn vampire movie.
That's why I'm saying Pixar could do Grim Fandango. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Grim's a good one.
What would you make that? It's just like a noir story, I guess.
Yeah,
But
a Mexican
kind of weird
noir
at the same
story.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a combo noir, film noir, and the traditional Mexican stuff, and all kinds of craziness. Yeah.
The Walking Dead, the game, the movie. That's it.
Well, it'd be better than the...
They cute. Anyone got any news?
Nah. The Twitch played Pokemon. They finished it.
They did.
I wanted to watch them finish it.
16 days in the end?
Yeah, 16 days.
That seems like not long enough.
No, well, everyone thought it would take weeks to do the Elite Four, but it was actually fine. They did black out over and over again, but it was quite fun to watch them grind through, because they just kept leveling up, obviously, as they went through the Elite Four. And they just eventually did it. Although it was quite funny seeing the counts of, because there's 4, then there's your rival at the end. So then a number of times that they failed on the ghost lady, third person, Agatha, I think her name was. That was quite funny. But yeah, I wanted to see the end of it, but I didn't want to stay up because it was like Sunday night last Sunday, and I think it probably happened like 4 a.m. or something. But it was clearly going to happen. Like they were getting far. Like there were a lot of naysayers at first, thinking it would take ages for some reason. Like everyone was really worried about these ledges going up to the victory road or whatever. But with the democracy mode or whatever, it's fairly easy to get past that stuff. I think they've changed it now because
did it come to a point where like democracy ruled, or like there were enough people watching that actually wanted progress?
No, I think by the time they were, because there were like 100,000 people watching at the end, 105,000 or something. And by the time they got that far, that almost everyone was for anarchy in general. I think democracy had to be introduced just to get past some of those puzzles in the game. And then there was a period where some people were for democracy and some people were for anarchy, just on a sort of philosophical level. But it seemed like anarchy was kind of winning as the more fun thing towards the end. So I think they did all their final stuff in anarchy. Well, it kept flipping over, of course, because that's the way the mechanic worked. But people were voting for anarchy. But now they seem to have changed it. So now they're playing Pokemon Crystal, and it seems to have democracy gets switched on every hour or something on the hour, and then you can vote it off. So that actually means that they're spending much more time in anarchy now, I think. They've changed the system, so it's no longer this tug of war thing. I'm not entirely sure how it works now, but instead of that like meter in the top right for showing how far across you are towards the other mode, it now just has a countdown to democracy mode whenever I look at it. So,
countdown to democracy.
Yeah. So I guess if they just get totally stuck, they just don't vote for anarchy, and then they get through the hard part, and then they just carry on with anarchy. Because it's definitely more fun, especially when there's 100,000 people, because it's like total chaos.
I don't know. It does beg the question: could they have done the game entirely in anarchy mode?
I think it would have taken. I think basically they could have done it, but it would have got boring to watch certain parts because you just couldn't get past them for days, especially that puzzle. So
was it because was it Giant Bomb had? They mentioned there was maybe a theory about like there's a sort of critical mass where like a certain viewer figure, it's kind of possible to make progress even in anarchy.
Yeah, that's true. I think when it gets lower, it gets easier.
Yeah, when there's too many players, then it's just kind of impossible.
Yeah, I mean, but it's more fun. I mean, they were getting through the final part with loads and loads of players, mostly in anarchy. But it was hilarious because it's just a series of rooms, the Elite Four. And so you just walk up to the next guy and fight them in their room. But of course, you don't just walk up to them. You walk all around the room looking at everything in the room for about like 3 minutes before you actually manage to get next to them and press A. So that's quite funny. Yeah. I don't know. They're playing Crystal now, and because there's so many fewer people watching now, it's like 20k or something when I last looked. I think they're getting further, even though they're mostly in anarchy, which is kind of a shame because I don't know. You're not going to get that many people again, are you? Because the story isn't as good this time as well.
Someone did set up a Twitch Plays Dota.
But everyone kept coming up with dumb ideas for things because it's like people are just like, oh, what should we have them play next? How about this and that? And it's like you're kind of misunderstanding how the whole concept of this works because there's very few games that you can actually play with just like simple four-directional chat inputs. But you just have to start with the Game Boy, but then it's not like you can play Mario like that.
No.
But
you could probably
play any JRPG might work.
Well, it depends of the time
with the
battle systems.
Ones, probably.
Yeah, you probably play the old Final Fantasies would be alright. And
classic
Chrono
Final
Trigger
Fantasy
would probably be okay. Might get away with tactics.
Well, I don't know about tactics.
Could you play Earthbound, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, Pokemon is kind of perfect because for some reason there's this whole weird generation of people that all played Pokemon when they were young, and they're just about the right age to look at this stupid stuff right now and get into it. It's weird. I think it's kind of critical mass thing. Yeah, and the people who are into it are trying to make sure that people don't reuse the same jokes in this new generation when they're playing Crystal, because they developed a whole bunch of stupid in-jokes in the first game. So
basically it's 4chan all over again.
Yeah, it's 4chan.
If you're not in the original, then you're a new fag.
Yeah, and there's like new fags in there. But like for example, the high-leveled, they caught a Pidgey quite near the start of Generation 1.
Because they always do.
And of course that Pidgey became like super powerful, of course, because it just getting leveled up. And of course it ended up being the most powerful because they released their starter Pokemon as well in the first generation. So that ended up being the mainstay of the team was Bird Jesus, which was the Pidgeot. And of course they caught a Pidgey early on in Generation 2 as well. And it's called Brian because he's not the Messiah, he's a very naughty boy. Which I guess makes sense.
So that is actually the same joke.
Yeah, but at least they've added, I don't know.
But you can't just call it Brian anyway. You're meant to call it something based on the random mash of letters that its name becomes.
Yeah, some of them are.
It be called Pidgey if they manage to skip the naming step.
Yeah, that does seem to. I think that's what happened with that one is they skipped the naming step. But yeah, I mean they're not as good the random names either. So because the guy's not
Generation 2. Do you mean they just restarted that stream?
No. They
it's
sorry,
on the same channel.
It's Generation 2 Pokemon, so it's Pokemon Crystal.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know if there was like.
Yeah, they're just playing one. I presume they'll just play one, whatever the most complete game of the generation is. I don't know why they didn't start with yellow, but I guess that one's a bit weird. And yeah, is that one in color?
You
Game Boy Color.
Yeah, you could sort of play it on the GBC and kind of okay.
Anyway, that's Twitch Faith Pokemon. So news, and that's probably done now. But it was quite interesting to watch.
It was a good idea, but let it lie maybe for a while, and then someone will come up with another thing.
Yeah.
What about Advance Wars? Twitch plays Advance Wars.
Yeah, but you just fail. There's no. You can't. It's like in Pokemon. You can't actually fail.
No, that's why it works. You can't really. The only way you can really lose, which they came close to doing, is by releasing all your Pokemon to the wild. And even
what actually happens though, what actually would happen in a Pokemon game if you tried to release the last Pokemon you had?
I don't know,
because it surely must have some built-in warning against that.
Oh yeah,
you think so?
It's a good feeling.
Oh no, wait! You can't do it because in order to release,
they have to be in a box, do they?
Well, I don't know if it was always the case, like in the older games, but you can release things that are in your team if you're in the computer. But I don't know if you can do that in the original. I think you actually have to put them into the PC,
right? So
they're not in your team, and then release them because Yeah, that must be it, because in the old games you only had deposit and withdraw, didn't you?
Right, yeah.
So you had to deposit them into the PC and then you could release them from there.
Yep.
So because you always have to have at least one Pokemon in your team. So you could never actually deposit that last Pokemon in order to release it in the old games, I don't think. I don't know what would happen in the new ones, because in the new ones you can go to organise instead of deposit and withdraw, which lets you do both, basically. So it's like, why do those other options even still exist? But then you can release shit directly from your team in that case.
It would slow you down drastically if you released all your trained Pokemon, though. Not
really. It's like if you had one... If the one that you didn't release was like the best one, it'd still be okay.
So anyway, should we move on to what you've been playing? I think it might be time. I think...
Well, I suppose there's other sort of news. The new Xbox Dash update landed.
Oh, yeah?
For Xbox One.
For Xbox One?
The March update. Well,
for
me, it kind of is, because this was the one where they were supposedly... They changed the friends list, and they added firmware level stuff for party joining.
Oh, yeah.
So games could do the invite to party stuff again themselves.
All the fucking stuff that was missing from that was worked perfectly fine on 360.
Yeah,
right.
You know, it's not a great deal better than what it was before, but it is a tiny bit better than what it was before. So, like when you join a party, for instance, the party chat turns on, which it didn't before. It would leave you in the game's lobby like chat unless you went to the party interface and switched yourself to party chat. So there's, little things like that were quite annoying, and that they've sort of ironed out. And the friends list has been redesigned, so it shows, basically when you go to the friends app, the first thing it shows you is your friends list as opposed to the activity feed. Like the activity feed is now one tab over.
Okay.
Which again, I think that's better because you go to the friends list to see who's about most of the time, not what people have been up to.
Know who you can actually form a party with, whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of a slight refinement about how people actually use those apps, and why people use those apps. That Microsoft just basically got the wrong idea about before. So that's cool. But the thing that sort of I was kind of most interested in is that this update actually was supposed to introduce the 50 hertz fix for UK TV.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know to what extent this is a problem, but for me, it totally doesn't fucking work.
God damn it.
Because if I turn that option on, I get a very, very annoying and noticeable up-down vibration, I guess, would be the way to describe it. It's sort of, it jiggles up and down. It's like, you remember back when, I don't know, like, on your CRT SD TVs, and like some PlayStation games were all low res, but then they started making high res PlayStation games that had that output at a slightly higher resolution.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got it on the N64 as well sometimes, right?
Yeah,
so, and in Majora's Mask, when you went into the menu, it would suddenly turn high res, which is weird.
So, exactly, yes. You'd end up with a very slight... I don't know if the N64 did it, but the PlayStation definitely did. But you'd end up with a very slight sort of... It was barely noticeable, but it was sort of there, like a very slight flicker, where the PlayStation was unable to actually output the signal quite right.
Right,
I think they ironed it out in the N64, and I think they ironed it out in the Dreamcast and PS2 and all that stuff. None of that was ever a problem. It looks like that, but to the extreme, because it jiggles by about a centimetre, like on my 40-inch telly.
Oh,
it's quite crazy. I just don't know why it does it. It's like I thought maybe it's like sending a bad handshake that my telly can't deal with. So I tried just turning the TV off and on again while it was showing in 50 hertz mode. But obviously, like when it redid the handshake, it was doing it wrong. The TV still didn't like it or something. So I don't know if it just affects me. I haven't been able to find a lot of information about it. Because a search for the 50 hertz problem is kind of annoying because it shows it. You search for that and it tells you about the problem it was before the patch.
Oh, of course,
because everyone had an issue with it.
Right. Okay. God damn it. So how do you Google it? I don't know.
Exactly. I haven't found anything. I've left a post on the Xbox forums at this point, which has had no replies.
Okay.
In the hope that someone, somewhere will be having the same problem as me.
Or at least you can hear if someone has had it actually work. Or
exactly.
Because you've got nothing to go on, really.
I haven't. No.
Sucks.
So yeah, that's kind of irritating. I was kind of looking forward to that. We fixed it, and like, oh really? Let's have a look. No, you haven't. Go home.
So you're just switching it off for now? Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, just leave it on how it was.
Okay.
It's unwatchable.
Yeah, I mean, but how bad is the problem to start with? I guess it's not. It's not good.
No, well, I can see it in certain moments, like when you've got a smooth motion like a credit roll.
Yep.
I can see it. But Naomi has no idea what the bloody hell I'm talking about, really.
Right.
It's
okay.
Like, I can't see anything. What are you talking about? It's I guess it's another one of those cases where I see things.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's when you know it's there. It's just so irritating.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Well, that's crap. I hope they fix it. God damn it. I mean, I heard that they'd fixed the upscaler because it was like really edgy. It's edgy, as in like all the edges were kind of picked out really sharply. No, as in like in terms of image quality, like the way it upscaled. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the hardware upscaler was like fucked. So
yeah, I think they changed that in the last update.
Yeah, that was probably the previous one. Yeah.
Yeah. I do wish, because the last update added the battery indicator. I do hope that at some point they had some way of notifying you when the batteries are running down. Because I had that happen to me twice, and it doesn't. You don't get a warning when your batteries are about to run out. You'd have to back out to the main menu and see that your indicator is low.
Because on the 360, you got it it would swirl crazily when it started to run out of battery.
Yeah, the controller would start going bonkers, and the PS3 has because the lights are on the back, really, not facing you on the PS3 controller. They do flash when they start to run out of juice, but you don't see it, so there's a notification on screen. It's sensible. There's none of that. it's kind of annoying. The controller just dies, and you're just like, oh no. That's kind of bad when you're playing online. It's just like, no.
Lame.
Yeah. Work to be done. Boo earns. So that's I think, I don't know. You got any more news? Anything happening in Eve? Anything?
Not news.
No? Alright. I think we're done here.
Cool. What you been playing? Have you been playing much, Rob?
Yes.
Cool. Let's hear it.
Well, sort of. I got a couple of games I can talk about. Let me get the short bits out of the way first.
Okay.
I played a bit more of that Intrusion 2 game, and I think I've got to the what I think is the last boss, but it's a bitch. It's kind of cool, but because of the physics versus controllability problems, you just die in circumstances that I can't really do a lot about sometimes. And the boss is really long, so it's like you'll be doing it for like 5 minutes or so, and then just die in a circumstance you could have done nothing about. And you're just like, well, I'm bored of this. I tried it for a while and realised I wasn't having much fun with it, and so I haven't gone back.
Fair enough. Well, I think you gave it a pretty fair shot, considering it's
it's not great
Flash game. Yeah,
I kind of liked the idea of what it was trying to do.
Yeah. I saw that boss looked pretty cool. That first one that I saw on the stream you did of it.
Yeah, that's not the. I think that's the second boss in the game. Yeah, that one. But it's yeah, the ideas are cool, but I don't know if you watch the stream. Some of the physicsy stuff is what screws you over, and that's the case with the entire game. Yeah, so I'm done with that, I think. I tried to make a real effort to finish Final Fantasy XIII-2.
Really? Okay.
Because
I mean, were you near the end then?
It was starting to wear thin, like soon after the last recording. Because I remember last time I was sort of saying, I'm kind of into it. It's kind of cool. They could do some interesting things. They don't.
Right. That's the trouble.
All of the early promise is kind of for nothing. They just don't. Yeah, you end up going back to like area. You know, you go through the timeline and you visit areas in different time spaces, and the majority of the time they aren't any differences. They're just lit a different way, or the enemies don't change enough, and the things you end up doing in those areas are just basically, I don't know. It's like reading from the MMO quest design book. You know, they're either fetch quests or kind of kill quests, and they're just not interesting. And the writing gets really shaky as well. Like, I don't know if I said this on the podcast last week, but there's a plot line at one point that is a mandatory bit of plot where you have to stop these little miniature flans from traveling through time in some way to build to all combine together and make a giant flan that's destroying the crystal pillar that holds up Cocoon. And like, there's loads of them. There's like you see like hundreds of them, and you do all that. You find out the cause. You defeat the flan. Okay, job's a good one. And then you go back to the same area but in a different part of the timeline, like later on as an optional area.
Right.
And I think it's an area that you can only get to after you've done the bit before. And the writing says at one point the characters go, "I've never seen so many flans in one place," and there's 6. And you're just like, for fuck's sake, we just defeated something of like several hundred flans.
100 of them, jeez.
And you're just like, 6? I've never seen so many flans. It's like, god damn it. And there's a number of places where the writing is just like for these little, you know, I'd sort of made the point before where it was like segmented into little stories, kind of.
Yeah.
But the optional ones are just bad. Like, totally terrible.
So you could just mainline and avoid that terrible writing, but then...
Well, here's the thing. The main line eventually led me to a fetch quest for 7 graviton cores. They came up with the idea of coming up with some mechanism of levitating something to make Cocoon levitate, or some other thing levitate, you know, as you do, like 400 years in the future. And they decided, we need these graviton core things to do it. So when it basically comes down to a fetch quest, it's like, well, they're here. In these we think they're here in these time zones. Go get them. So I then spent what must be at least 10 hours trying to do this fetch quest to try and get to the areas, because some of the areas I hadn't discovered yet.
Oh.
So I had to try and figure out the route to get to them
through areas that you did know. Yeah,
but then the problem with that is that I then ran into the issue that some of the gates to go to the optional areas require a consumable item. Called a wild artifact, which I didn't have any of because I'd used them to get to other areas, some of which I needed to go to, like some of them were, you know, worth all that quest. But then I ran out of them, and it's like, and I couldn't find one or two specific areas without them. So I yielded and got out a guide, and holy fucking shit, a couple of them are in such awkward bloody places that you would never find unless you were really, really looking for, either being very, very fussy about looking at every possible camera angle as you ran around.
Right.
Because there's a couple of them you just wouldn't see unless, say, you were pointing the camera at the ground so you could see over a cliff just to see this tiny speck of land onto which you can throw your Moogle.
And this is the main quest.
And this is the main quest bit, yeah. So I had to look up a few of those, and then once I got a couple, then I could make my way to the last couple of areas, and so I've got all the Graviton cores. Although I probably didn't need to do that, as it turns out, because the game basically said, yeah, we need the cores. It didn't tell me how many of them I needed. I think I only needed 4.
Okay.
And I got all 7.
Right.
And the last 2 were the ones that took me bloody ages to figure out how to get to.
But it didn't tell you, so you thought you needed all the cores, right?
Yeah,
that makes
I mean,
sense.
I could have just gone back to them and just handed in my cores and hoped for the best. But I thought I needed them all, so I carried on and didn't bother doing that. So I could have saved myself probably a shit ton of time if I wanted to mainline it, and then.
But you weren't to know.
Nope.
Because it wasn't telling you.
Nope.
Okay.
The game has now made some sort of big deal that after that I may be doing something like going into a final thread of story, as if to suggest that I might not gain access to finding my way or jumping around the timeline again, at least until I finish the game, and it'll probably go back to you want to go back and do all this stuff type phase like it did in 13. So I think I'm in end game now. At the 30-hour mark. Although I probably could have been here after 20 hours.
Do you have a counter on your save?
Yeah. It's got a Final Fantasy always has that clock in the pause menu.
Right, yeah, of course.
So they still do that. Yeah, so I don't know. I kind of just want to. I'll go through the story, but because nothing has happened in the story the last 10 hours, I kind of don't care anymore. And I just sort of want to finish it, just to say I finished it,
just to get it done.
Yeah, and, as is my new thing with video games, must finish them whenever possible.
That's
I've
quite stringent.
Started doing that over the last couple of years, really. I realised the other day, it's like this thing about, I must actually finish these.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's noble. If you're not having fun, I wouldn't bother. But that's just me.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of I don't know, maybe that's the critical journalism side of me says I have to do it.
I must.
I have to know what the full picture is. So
people can know.
In case the ending does something neat, which I doubt.
Never know. Sometimes endings are cool.
Well, yeah, if you didn't play to the end of Bioshock Infinite, shame on you.
Yeah, but I don't know. That was pretty good, just in general. Although,
yeah, but the ending is where it's at.
Yeah, true. I kind of want to play that again if I get a new video card at some point.
Put it in the 1998 mode. I guess that was news. They said that's going to be in
the DLC, right? There's a 98 mode. Is that right? Does that retroactively apply to Infinite then? It's 99.
I've got no idea. Yeah, it is 99 mode in the others, but I don't actually know what the difference is. But
no, just be super super hard.
Maybe there's no crouching.
Did they not have crouching in 98?
I don't know.
No looking up.
When Duke Nukem came out, that probably had crouch.
That was 95, wasn't it? 96? 95 must be, because 90 didn't Quake come out in 96?
Oh, you might be right, actually. Yeah, must be around.
Blimey. We were trying to work out when Dark Forces came out the other day. I think that was 95.
Dark Forces, that was Jedi Knight, you mean? Or?
Yeah, no, the first Jedi Knight game was called Dark Forces, and it was Star Wars Doom.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was around about Duke Nukem 3D time, I would have thought.
Doom clones.
Doom clone. Oh, so many Doom clones at the moment, it's ridiculous.
Nothing but Dinklings. Yeah, so I've been playing a ton of that, but 2 more things to go, and then I'll be done. Noam and I went back and played a bit more Beyond.
Yeah.
And we got to some good bits. Again, it's not really stuff that pushed the story on the whole, but there were some pretty interesting little stories. There's a whole section in the Navajo desert with some Native Americans that you meet that's kind of cool and has some stuff reminiscent of Red Dead in it, which I couldn't help but think, this is cool.
Oh, that's cool. How was it? How did it remind you of Red Dead then?
There's a horse. You're in a desert.
It had a horse. That makes sense. Dum 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 dum.
I thought that was a really good sequence. So
cool.
The writing seemed a bit more on point, and
flashes of what could have been, maybe.
Yeah, but it didn't. It was one of those sections of story where you didn't jump out of it, and it was quite a long section, so you had to play the whole thing kind of in one go, and that was cool. Because it wasn't jumping about all over the place. It felt more coherent. It was kind of a nice, succinct storyline.
But it's kind of an indictment of the rest of the game, right?
Yeah, it's like that's the best bit because it's a bit, as opposed to
jumping around crazily.
Yeah, all over the place. And there was a homeless section where you're busking for money and then have to break out of the burning building at one point.
Homeless gameplay.
Yeah, that was okay. It was, again, not as good as some of the other stuff, but it was, I guess, a bit more solid because, again, it was just a segment. It's I don't think I'm going to go back to being a homeless person. It was just a nice segment. And the game is better when it's doing longer sections. So we'll probably plod on with that at a glacial pace. But the thing I've been playing probably that I'm most excited to talk about, because I'm really enjoying it, is Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare.
Oh, yeah?
On the Xbox One. It's really good!
Is it good?
Seriously good.
So
I'm not even kidding.
It's a third-person shooter, so it's like Gears, right? But for kids?
Kind of. It's a third-person class-based shooter, but the classes are quite varied. It's a bit. I guess in a way, it's kind of more like Team Fortress in its makeup. So, the plants, you get the pea shooter who can only fire fairly slow-firing, grenade-y type things. They don't have drop-off or anything, but they have a slight area of effect when they hit. But do quite a lot of damage if you direct hit, but which is kind of difficult to do.
Right.
But then you get the Sunflower, which has a rapid fire shot and a can route itself to create a death laser with a really cool evil sound effect that goes Wah! When you're firing
it. Massive echo on that.
Yeah, should see the sound wave. But it also has a heal beam. And then you get the Chomper, which is melee only, can kill from behind, insta kill from behind type, and the Cactus, which is your long range thing that can also summon the Garlic Drone to fly high in the sky and shoot bullets and drop corn on the cob.
Awesome.
Corn strikes. And the zombies are equally bonkers. So you end up with a foot soldier that's kind of like your normal dude because he has an assault rifle and a rocket launcher. But then you have the engineer who fires balls of concrete and can also summon a drone and has a jackhammer to get around on. And then the scientist who has a shotgun type thing but can warp places and drop heal turrets and stuff. And what's the last one? Can't remember the last one. Oh, the All-Star, who's kind of cool because he's basically the heavy.
Okay. Does he have a, really powerful...
He has a chain gun, but it's a rapid-fire football launcher.
Naturally. That makes sense. Is that so that they're all based on the zombie types?
Kind of.
The original game,
yeah.
Kind of. There's no Michael Jackson zombie, though, or whatever they replaced him with.
There is a disco zombie, but you don't play as him. He's in the Horde mode as one of the bosses. Horde mode.
What's the Horde mode like, then? Is that the main mode? Or no?
I prefer the multiplayer stuff, but the Horde mode is where you should start, I suppose. Because you can only play as the plants in that, because naturally it's the plants defend, the zombies attack. That's the nature of the game. And it's just, you pick a garden location on one of the maps, and then you try and defend it. Like, if it takes too much damage, you lose. It's quite simple, and it goes on for 10 rounds. Getting increasingly harder. It'll occasionally throw in special waves, like you'll have what they call the marathon wave, where it's just lots and lots and lots of little zombies for a very long time, or you'll get the all-star wave or something where it spawns nothing but what it calls the heroes, which are like the classes you could play as in the multiplayer. Which are tougher, but the all-star wave would be nothing but all-stars, or and then every now and then you get the boss waves. You have like the Giga Gigantua, or whatever it calls it, Giga Gigan, or the Yeti, or Disco Zombie, or
right.
And that's kind of all there is to it. I mean, you get consumable cards which you can spend in the pots around your garden to put down other plants to help you, like stationary turrets.
So is that like a sort of tower defense type mechanic or whatever?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the potted plants aren't very strong, so like if you put the right one in the right place, you'll probably get a bit of good fortune. As the zombies might not notice it for a while.
Mm-hmm. But they go down quite quick. Otherwise. Yeah,
if they get attacked, they're not going to last long. Again, I guess kind of similar to like its heritage. But it's okay. It lasted a little while. But the main fun for me is in the multiplayer, which basically only has 2 modes, but which are like the team deathmatch style.
Right.
Which is a kind of cool extra in that you like the enemy team will lose a point if you manage to revive a fallen comrade. So it's not just kills, but like downs. You can at least get your points back. Mm-hmm. Which creates an interesting balance at some point about how much you should go for the revive.
How hard is the revive action then?
It depends on what class you are. For most classes, it takes a real long time, like quite a long time, and you're quite vulnerable because you can't move. And because of the way the controls work, it's on B button, but you can still look around and shoot. But because it's on the B button, that's a bit of a hand task to do unless you play Southpaw,
right?
With your sticks. So I find that most people just end up standing there, not being able to do much while they're doing revive. But the Sunflower can revive ultra fast, as can the Scientist. So they should be the ones trying to do that. But then the level up system occasionally challenges you to get revives as your class. So, eventually everyone will have to try it.
Mm.
So it's like, so you get that. And then, but my favourite mode is what they call the Gardens and Graveyards mode. Where it's basically
that the main mode, effectively? Like Battlefield has Conquest or whatever, and is like this is clearly the main mode.
This is for me. This is the main event because it's the maps are quite big and they go through like 6 phases. I think there's only two or three of the maps, to be honest. But for this, but they're quite big. They go through 6 phases, and it's essentially the zombies have to capture a point, and then once they capture it, they move up. It's a bit like Rush, essentially.
Okay. Well, so Rush. Okay.
It's
like Assault or whatever.
More conquest mechanics to capture. So you don't have to set a bomb or anything at the point. So you have to stand around in the zone for a while. And if there's more of you than them, the zombies damage the point.
Yeah.
But the zombies have a sort of slight advantage in the sense that they can summon extra zombies to help them, like little minions.
Okay, like mobs or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or creep, I suppose.
Creep,
to go and they count towards the number of people in the zone.
Oh, they count as much as or half as much or whatever as the normal guys.
Yeah. So in theory, the zombies, I think the zombies have a bit of a balance advantage because of things like that in this mode. And because the zombies handle more like, I don't know, traditional shooters more. Because their weapon loadout is weapons. Right,
yeah. So it's just more familiar, just in general.
Yeah, exactly. So my opinion, I think that zombies have an advantage at the moment, but that doesn't mean it isn't fun to play on either side. It's just like you're probably in for a harder ride as the plants sometimes. But I think it's really cool. It looks much better than it really should, for a lot.
Right.
Essentially, it's not much of a budget game. I mean, it's £35 if you buy it off the Xbox store. Where I forget what the price is. It's like $40 or something in America instead of like a $60 full title. So it's not a full release because it's a bit small, I
but
suppose.
it's getting there.
Yeah.
In terms of price, anyway.
But the quality of the visuals is pretty. It's
it
much better than it should be because it's based on Frostbite.
Is it Frostbite? Okay, I was wondering if it was Unreal, but it's Frostbite.
No, it's running on Frostbite. It being EA, and it's I think it's Frostbite, but it's got some really high quality lighting. The texture details are right up there. It runs at a pretty solid 60. The polygon count on the characters is pretty high.
Nice.
And it kind of feels like it in the right sort of style for Plants vs Zombies at the same amongst all of that. So I think they nail the visuals. The sound design is pretty cool as well because it's bonkers.
Yeah,
like all of the plants obviously make really bizarre sounds. Like whenever Crazy Dave says anything, you get a big speech bubble come up, and it's like.
What role does Crazy Dave play then? Is he like the announcer dude?
Well, he's like the plants boss, isn't he? So he's like when you're playing as the plants, he's your announcer.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And when you're the zombies, you get Zomboss.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's. But they all sound great. Like some of the audio cues are fantastic. Like when the pea shooter throws a chili bomb, like instead of it like because it has a bit of time before it detonates, it just has the sound of the chili going. So nice. That's when you know it's about to go off. It's like, oh fuck, chili bomb. It just sounds insane.
Okay.
And
the sound design was pretty good on the original game, even, but then, on Plants vs. Zombies, but then in a kind of shooter atmosphere, I can imagine it being totally frantic and mental.
Yeah. I mean, that is perhaps one of the game's flaws in a way, that it is perhaps a little too frantic. It's kind of hard to see what's going on sometimes.
Yeah.
In like the bigger firefights, because I think it's like 16 on 16 for the multiplayer mode.
So it's got more players than freaking Titanfall.
There's a lot of shit going on, and it's I just find it a really, really enjoyable experience. I have the problem is that Gnome was like she saw me watching it and she made the comment, and I really can't see people getting very frustrated with this. At which point I started going on a losing streak and getting a bit frustrated with it.
Annoyed.
Yeah. Because it is at its heart still a shooter, and so it does suffer from the occasional bit of shooter online weirdness. Especially if you're playing as the Chomper, because melee is always classically dodgy in online
shooters.
games. Yeah. So occasionally that won't connect like a back hit as you would expect, or it won't. The Chomper also has a burrow move where if you get underneath someone, you get a big red cursor appears under them, and if you pull the trigger at that point, you're supposed to come out of the ground and insta-kill. But that kind of rarely works for me. Like, I'll pull the trigger and nothing will happen, and that kind of stuff. So it does suffer a little bit from, classic stuff. And the franticness means that a lot of the time you just can't tell what the hell just happened to you.
Right.
You're just like, really? What just happened? But it will cut to a close-up of the person that just killed you, but you're still not really much wiser as to how they killed you, I guess.
None the wiser, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you get kill cams and stuff?
Not really. You don't get a replay of what happened to you. As I say, it just cuts to a face cam of the person that just killed you and whatever they're doing at the current moment.
Right. So
a little bit like how Battlefield does it, I guess.
Okay.
And
they're not called kills at all, are they? Because
they're called vanquishers.
There you go, vanquishers. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Most valuable vanquisher.
Kind of reminds me of that. Do you remember when they made an arena shooter for kids that was basically Unreal Tournament, but the Nerf
thing?
Yeah, that's it. They made it with Nerf, so it was Nerf Arena. That was so cool. Yeah,
that had multiple ways of scoring, didn't it? You could either kill, I suppose, a player, knockout, whatever you want to call it. But also had those targets about that you could periodically hit.
Yeah.
And a good shot on those would get you more points.
So I was thinking about that this week after I saw some.
It was kind of a cool game.
Yeah. This is kind of a similar thing in some ways. Shooter for kids, but
it's a shooter
really
first,
good.
Yeah. I really enjoy it. I found it hard to put down once I got going, and it's
cool.
It's pretty great. Tied me over till Titanfall comes out on Friday.
Yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, I didn't realise, but we're 3 days behind the American release.
Right, yeah.
Ours comes out on the 14th.
Well, maybe they'll have broken the servers by then, and we can benefit from their stuff. Although the beta went fine, from what I can tell. So, yeah. Oh, I need to pre-order that. I should probably do that. I was still looking
I've already got
equipment.
I've got to be honest. I've got an Xbox version coming, but
yeah,
as I say, if you guys get like super into it, then
yeah, you might as well hold off.
Count me in for some PC fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm still thinking of doing the upgrade stuff, but I might need to wait until. Although it won't matter for Titanfall, I'll probably play that on my current system. But
yeah, it could probably be fine, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but that stuff might need to wait a little while because I am quite tempted to get that giant screen of Doom, and that will require. And also, I looked again at the graphics cards, and did I say already? But I think I have to choose the Nvidia one because the other one won't fit in my case.
Oh yeah, you did say.
Yeah, so that's kind of a pain. I mean, and I can't be bothered to, next time I'll like buy a new case and.
Next time you're doing like a whole motherboard CPU replacement, then sure, why not? But
yeah, but this time, I think I'll just go for the one that actually fits. And I was just annoyed because I think that currently the Radeon one is slightly more powerful and it's cheaper. But I quite like. But it runs a lot hotter, and it's much less power efficient and stuff. Whereas the Nvidia one will run a bit quieter, which I prefer, and also it will have G-Sync capability if at some point I need that. Yeah. Although if I buy a new monitor, it won't have G-Sync, so I'll have to be waiting for.
So does G-Sync require a chipset on?
I think it does. You might be able to patch things in.
Or...
no, I think all the like current and future Nvidia cards will support it, but it does obviously it does.
So I wonder if my card will be able to handle it, that kind of stuff.
Oh, you should look it up. I think it's like this gen and maybe the previous one have support.
I don't know because I'm like 600 series, which might still count because I think they're up to 7s now, aren't they? Or
yeah, I was looking at 780. GTX 780 is my. It's GTX 780 versus R9 290 is my current decision, I think. But anyway, I kind of just want this giant screen because it's so nice, ridiculous IPS. I feel like I can't work without a huge screen now. Like if I wanted to do a personal project, it's like I haven't got the space. I need the space for my code and my. Because if you
more screens,
yeah, that's true. Well, I could just get another screen, but I mean,
you've got 3 already, man. Come on.
No, I don't. One of my old smaller ones broke ages ago, so I'm down to 2 screens anyway. And you've got more space than I have because you've got 2 1080p screens, have you, or something like that? Yeah. So you've got way more. Yeah. So I'm behind. I need to, and that res is super cool for web dev. The 1440p because you can pretty much have one half the screen, a browser with the dev tools, and it's like the average size of a browser window, and then the other half is for the code. So that works.
Oh,
really
I see.
nicely.
You mean what if you snap left or something?
Yeah, snap left and right. It's really nice.
Anyway. I guess 1440 is quite close to the vertical width of vertical width to the height of an iPad screen.
Probably, yeah.
I can't remember what that is, like 15 something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that working.
Anyway, so stay tuned for that. That will be a big outlay though if I get the graphics card and the monitor.
Well, yeah. Don't forget, like the more pixels you have, the more you have to push.
Well, exactly. That's why I need a super fast card. So we'll see. Is that the done. Games you've been playing?
Yeah, that's me done. Garden Warfare recommended.
Awesome.
I would also like. Well, I don't know. We haven't talked about it yet, but I had my I suppose news and stuff I've been up to. I had a snowboard lesson on Friday.
Oh yeah. How'd it go?
Fucking hell, that's the hardest thing I think I've ever fucking done.
Seriously,
it's impossible.
It looks so when you see people do it, it looks so effortless, doesn't it?
It's because I have all the wrong instincts and all my strength is in a place that is not useful at all. Like, it requires, I think it's core strength, because it's all balance, essentially. Yep. So, when I'm trying to balance on, Like, basically, this entire lesson was about trying to maintain a heel or toe edge so I don't go sliding down the hill like a crazy motherfucker.
Right.
Without, like, just sitting on my ass. And so, like, you're trying to put imagine trying to put all your weight on your heel. But you've got to do it in a way where you lift your board up so it's digging in on the back edge. And you've got to be crouched down enough to, like, have to basically maintain your own balance. In practice, or in principle, that sounds really simple. In practice, that's against every natural instinct you have to balance. So for me, if I'm on a hill, my natural instinct is to say, oh shit, I'm losing grip. I need to put as much of my shoe down on the hill as I can, so I grip it, so I don't fall down.
But you have to
that's
actively...
the exact wrong thing.
Yeah,
because you do that and your board's flat, so you slide.
Yeah. Because if you press down with your left, then you're in trouble, right? Because you'll go sliding. Whereas you need to put everything on your heel.
On your heel, yeah, on your heel.
I see.
Or it depends which way you're facing. So the other side we were trying is the toe, which I think I was slightly more okay with. I wasn't great. It just did me in like real bad. Like my legs after a while just couldn't handle the stresses of constantly, because I think it was because I reckon my muscles were working to try and replace the strength I don't have in the places where it's supposed to be. So they're working super hard to try and do the things that the rest of me should be able to do.
Right.
So I'm getting tired very fast. Like needlessly fast compared to everyone else that was doing it. I'm by far the worst person doing it. So yeah, I've also got this interesting like stab pattern on my hand because it's on a dry slope, and it's like, and if you fall over and you don't have thick gloves, it just goes right through and just stabs you in the hand.
Ow, nasty.
Yeah, it's kind
so
of.
How does that
kind of painful
digging thing even work on the artificial?
It works fine, but it's not as forgiving. Like,
right.
So the way that the instructor described it is, it's like it bites, but it bites suddenly, whereas snow has more of a.
I see, gradual.
More of a gradual change. It will bite a little bit, whereas this is kind of, it's either biting or it's not really, and so that does make it a lot less forgiving for trying to learn on.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Which
but
is
if
annoying.
If you can master that, then snow is easy.
I guess you'd just go to that Ipswich one all the time, and then when you went to the actual snow, you'd be like, "Oh, this is a piece of piss."
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I would. Having done the lesson now, it makes me feel better about having not gone on a ski or snowboard holiday without getting lessons first. If you see what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of highlights that would be a really bad idea, because you'd probably spend. I mean, I put so much bloody. It was a 2-hour thing, and I put so much bloody effort into it that Saturday I practically couldn't move.
Right.
And today I'm okay, but I still have some weird like aches. And it's just that's just how brutal it was on me. It's bad, really. So
it sounds like fun though.
If I could do it, it would be fun, but I'm terrible. I was making improvements, and that did feel good when you finally start to not follow your instincts, I suppose, when they're beginning to change. And that did feel good, but yeah, it took me so long to get there, and it was so tiring. I just need to build up. Yeah, I need to do some crazy core work this week, and hope that I can be strong enough for next time.
For core work?
Well, apparently, like holding, like when you hold a press up, but just hold it without doing the press up.
All right.
Apparently, doing that is kind of a real good way of just like you can stay as straight as you can, like throughout your back and your arse and your legs, and then apparently that's a real good. Just hold that, and apparently that's just a real good way of trying to get all your core muscles strengthened. Or Noma was saying something about this she had to do for skiing, where like sit as if you're in a chair, but without a chair, with your back against the wall for support.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's just all in your legs. And that should strengthen them up. But
it sounds boring.
It's not. Exercise in general isn't exactly the most entertaining of things.
No, but at least if you're moving, there's something going on. Whereas if you're holding, I know it's hard to do.
It's just core strength work, isn't it? It's like I guess that's all you can do. Like squats, maybe. Let's get squatting.
Do the squatting.
So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you.
Cool, nice little snowboarding anecdote there from the slopes of the Switch. Not the cold.
Those sweet Switch slopes.
The Switch slopes. The ones you go past on the train. Ah.
Yes, those.
Cool. Okay, Zachary Burgess. What have you been playing
in the last hour?
Yep.
What have you been playing the past couple of weeks when you haven't been dying of not flu?
Yeah, I didn't really do much. Well, I didn't really do much this week, I guess. The trouble was that naturally, as soon as I got ill, it was like, oh shit, I have to go into Guild Wars because I have practically missed the last event. Well, the previous event.
Right, yeah.
So I have struggled into Guild Wars a bit to see what the end of that was. And I did actually manage to get all the achievements for it as well, so...
Cool.
Or I guess enough of the achievements to get the reward for doing the achievements. Because you can get it by the daily achievements as well. But yeah, that was a bit weird. It was just like... They decided to have their event fuck up the main city, I guess.
Yeah, Lion's Arch is boned.
Which was weird because they had to move all the stuff that was in Lion's Arch outside. Whereas like all the services and like the banks and all that kind of stuff, they had to put them somewhere else. And then that event was just like, you just run around inside Lion's Arch trying to save the civilians, which basically just means you run around in Lion's Arch killing random enemies for 45 minutes at a time and get a shit ton of loot.
It's an escort mission, really.
Well, except not really, because you don't really need to escort them most of the time.
No, you just have to kill stuff.
You just run up to them and go, oi, go! And then they go. And then sometimes they get killed somewhere else, but then you can revive them again, and then they carry on along their path.
No. It's just like everything else they've done in Lion's Arch, and there's just a bit of a clusterfuck.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, you're meant to, like, you get bonuses if you rescue a certain number of civilians, like the whole server. But of course, by the time I was doing that, there wasn't enough people caring. It was just like, go and kill the things. There's champions and stuff. They always give good loot. That's all anyone cares about at that point. So yeah, I did some of that and got a goddamn ton of loot again, and a ton of bonus to my magic find and all that kind of stuff.
Cool.
And then also the other thing that I was playing during the week of illness was, for some reason, I decided to play some more Binding of Isaac, because I still haven't got all the achievements in the base version of the game.
There are tons, though.
There aren't that many.
Well, at least there are in my version of it.
Well, there's like twice as many when you get the expansion.
It's massive. But
the expansion ones are a lot harder. Because the expansion ones are a lot harder, but the base game is like... The trouble with it is that, like, I think I'm down to 2 achievements to go. One of them is for, like, an item that I just haven't seen yet. You guys, like, you have to get this item and one other item in one run. And one of those items I've never even seen. So I was like, well, that kind of sucks. And then the other achievement is for dying 100 times. But I don't die any longer, I just win. I'm too good at it.
Wow.
I've got like 83 deaths and like 56 wins. And you need 100 deaths. So, I don't know. I could just be lazy and grind it out by suiciding myself or something.
I've won once.
The trouble is that the stat that it records for, like, isn't really wins at all. It's like the actual stat that it records is like mum kills. Then that's not actually really the end of the game.
No, it's not. You could get a mum kill and a death.
I guess, unless it doesn't. I don't know how it actually counts. That's not really enough stats. That's the problem. It's just like mum kills and deaths. That doesn't really tell you what that means, really, and it doesn't really tell you that's not the full stats either. So, not sufficient stats to actually tell you what the fuck you're doing. But yeah, so I'm only missing like those 2 achievements and then like 3 items that I've never seen. One of which is the one for that achievement, and one is the one that you get from that achievement. And then I would be done with that, and then maybe I can buy the expansion for like 20p, as it always is.
Yeah.
So that was what I mostly did this week. And then
Okay.
before that, I can't even remember. It was so long ago.
So long ago,
More than
the
a
depths
week.
of my memory, the mists of time.
It's like I didn't really play much more Bravely Default. Still, again.
Oh, you still haven't got over the hump.
Well, no, it's just got. I don't know why. Well, I got to the point of what it's like chapter 4 now. It's like I got to the point in chapter 4 where the side quests for chapter 4 have appeared. So I was like, oh, that'll be actual something to do. But then I stopped at that point because I got to the point where the story got really like. Well, I guess it didn't really get any more dumb. It just like extremely pointed out the dumb.
No.
Whereas like the whole story is you've been going around the world trying to light up the Elemental Towers to stop the world falling apart or whatever. But like the only reason you're doing this is because this goddamn fairy tells you to.
Yeah, you mentioned that last time.
You don't really know what you're doing. It's just like, well, the fairy told us to do it, and apparently this is going to save the world, so I guess we better do it. And then opposing you is like the enemy side, which is one of your team members' dad is like the leader of the opposing forces or whatever. So obviously there's a family drama type thing going on. But so his like
daddy issues.
Every time you see him in obviously it's not actually scenes that your characters can see or whatever, it's like, you know, the classic things that are happening elsewhere. But then,
meanwhile,
so he's like, whenever you see him, he's like, no, we must stop them from lighting the crystals because we're not going to tell you. So it's like you don't know the actual reasons for either side's thing, and then as you're coming to the point where you're finally going to meet up, like your team is going to fight him in like not even the final battle because it's only chapter 4 out of 6. You're coming up to that point and you're like, okay, we're going to talk to him, we're going to like, this will be the last chance to have a discussion, as they keep saying, before we fight. And then you come up there, and then just before that, there's another one of the scenes between that dude and his like second in command, where it does the classic thing where he's like, only me and like 3 other people in the world know the secret of the crystals, and now I'm going to tell you, Mr. Second in Command guy, fade out, fade back, and then Second in Command guy's like, no way! And then he has to leave and go and defend the last crystal while the main dude tries to buy him some time. And then you come up to him and then you meet, and it's like, okay, we're facing off before this battle, and then it's just like, that would be the perfect time for one of you two teams to actually tell everyone the reason why you're doing this. But it's just like, I'm going to continue down this path. I'm going to stop you. Well, okay then. It's like, seriously, you just literally just told your second in command guy this big, awesome secret that's like probably going to have the whole world get destroyed, but you won't tell the goddamn people who are going to cause it to happen. Fuck.
Don't you know what you're doing?
It's such an
We're saving the world. No, you're not.
Exactly. I mean, he could tell you, and then you could like not believe him, and then go and do it anyway. That would be acceptable. But then the fact that no one ever says anything at all to each other about this dramatic world-defining secret, it's just like, no, I'm not. I'm just going to fight you. Then I fought him. And then I won. And now I guess I get to go and do whatever the fuck it is that's going to go horribly wrong.
So is this guy the dad?
Yeah.
The dad dead?
No.
He kill you dead?
He gets saved at the last moment by like a vampire guy or some shit.
Or some shit.
By making him a vampire?
I think I'm going to fight that vampire dude as well. I think he's one of the side quests. I think the vampire is like a class, one of the jobs you can get. I'm not sure how that works.
They could temporarily be a vampire.
Yeah.
So, like, you drink some blood, you become a vampire, and you vomit it back up, and then you're no longer a vampire.
So that's that. I haven't really... I don't know, I just need to get back to it. And then the other thing I did, I guess, quite a lot was... Because my time with Pokemon Bank, the 3 month was running out, and I was like, oh shit, I better finish up with that. Finish getting everything out of there before it all disappears. So I did that, and actually managed to clear it all out. And then didn't really get any further with breeding stuff. It was dumb because I was like, I'd gone... The stuff that I basically just shoved some stuff out of my bank out of my in-game bank into the internet bank to clear space for the new stuff. And then I was like, well, I have to deal with the stuff that's in there, which was basically all like stuff that I was halfway through breeding. So it's just like a bunch of level 1 stuff that had come out of eggs and I hadn't sorted through it all or whatever. But one of those was the goddamn Eevees, those goddamn Pokemon that could evolve in a million different ways.
Yeah.
Except nowadays it really is a million different ways, because it's like originally there was only 3, where it's like fire, lightning, and water. And that was fine. But then they added like, I can't remember whether it was in I think the second game gave you light and dark, where you evolve them at day or at night when they're friendly to you, so you have to make them friendly first. Then there's like, I'm not sure whether that was the 3rd or 4th generation, they added ice and grass, which is you have to evolve them in a specific place in the world. Well, an icy place and a grassy place.
Right.
So that's those 2. And now in this one, it's also added fairy, where you have to evolve it when it's friendly to you, but in the other way that it's friendly from playing the stupid mini games, and when it has a fairy move. So it's like 8 goddamn different evolutions of this one thing. So I had to breed it basically 8 times with different stats, because the different types have different specialties. And I was like, God damn it, that was just... No wonder I hadn't bothered to finish that bit in breeding, because that was a pain in the ass. But then I did it, so that's good. Then I cleared it all out. Then I deleted a whole bunch of shit that I got from random trades, cleared out some more boxes, so I won't have to worry about Pokemon Bank ever again. And that was good.
Which is it still free, or is that expired?
No, it's just about to expire.
How much is it?
I don't know what it actually costs. I never actually looked. Not much. Probably like a year.
I can't imagine it would be much.
No. But then, so yeah, that was the Pokemon. And then I need the one person that I actually have on my Nintendo 3DS friends list. I was like, I might need to acquire assistance in order to do some trades. Because it's like, there's still the goddamn classic annoying Pokemon where it's like they only evolve when you trade them.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, I need you, one other person that I have on my 3DS friends list. I need you to come back into Pokemon for like 5 minutes and just trade me some shit.
Come back.
So yeah, there was that. And I can't remember like practically anything else that I did. Oh, I went back into Minecraft for a while because like I hadn't been there for quite a while. It was like they changed some stuff slightly again, I guess, as they always do. But I was like, some stuff is starting to look a bit more like actual mechanics in some cases, where it's like enchantment, where you can put enchantments on your weapons and stuff. I guess it still is like that, where you just shove the weapon in the enchantment table and then it just gives you a random enchantment. But now, a while ago, they also introduced like the anvil, where you can repair weapons, but you can also like combine weapons that have different enchantments together and then like combine the enchantments and stuff. So I hadn't really seen that. So yeah, I went back into there and it wasn't really, I didn't really get to that point, as is traditional. I started again and had to build up from nothing. And then by the time I'd gotten to the point of even having an enchanting table, I was like, Jesus, that's maybe enough Minecraft for now. I'll come back again.
Pokebank, or Pokemon Bank, well, I just call it the Pokebank. The Pokemon Bank is £4.50 a year, or $4.49.
Yeah.
That's
for
really quite
boxes.
Yeah, don't know. That's not too bad.
That's probably not a good like cloud storage price ratio. Like pounds per gig or whatever. It's probably real bad.
Yeah. That was it. Oh, well, I guess there was some Battlefield at some point. I can't even remember when that was exactly.
Yeah, we did play some.
I didn't even. There was the bit with you, but I think I tried to play by myself as well at some point. Oh, I remember what I was doing in Battlefield 4. I finally unlocked the mortar, and you remember how retarded the mortar was in Battlefield 3?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, the moment you fire, you show up on the map, so you immediately get counter-mortared. Yep. So what you had to do was set up your mortar, fire one shot, immediately jump out of your mortar and run away, wait for the counter-mortar shot to inevitably land where you just were, and then set it up again.
Attach, have another shot, run away.
Yeah, it was so dumb. Well, now the mortar in Battlefield 4 is actually quite... I don't know why I haven't seen it more is what I'm most surprised about, because it actually seems like it might almost be quite useful. Because what you do is you deploy it, but it's a remotely operated thing now, so you just like get out a little PDA which you click into to go into a top-down map to fire the mortar, and it's just an automated position.
Yeah, right.
So you can just like dump the mortar somewhere and then run off and hide, and then remote control it from somewhere safe.
Attract people, fire some random shots off, attract people to come in your general direction, and then quickly switch to the mortar and shoot them as they come.
Yeah, maybe, but it's just because it's now remotely controlled, and you can safely set it off. And it's also weirdly, it's like because it's automatic as well. It just regenerates ammo, but really slowly. So you set it up and you get like 6 shots, but then it only regenerates 1 shot every like 2 minutes or something. So it only reloads itself really slowly, but because it does that, it just means you can just periodically flip over your thing and just fire off a couple of shots somewhere. So I'm kind of surprised I haven't seen it more, because it seems like it's sort of useful as a thing to have around and doesn't attract attention to itself nearly as much. I don't think I've ever died from one.
No, I don't remember dying from one.
So I don't know. Maybe people just don't play support.
Does it show up on the map when it fires?
Well, I guess I wouldn't know because I've never looked for it.
True. Yeah, because we've never seen anyone using it, maybe. Or maybe it is because it's so far down the tree that...
It's not. It's like middle of the support tree, I guess. Sort of. I unlocked the other... I guess it was...
I don't play much support in fairness. So.
No, well...
I used to play more of it in 3, but I've rarely touched it in this.
I think it was just before the mortar you get the mysterious, whatever it's called. I'm trying to remember its dumb acronym, but it's the Man-Portable Anti-Projectile System, or MAPS, I guess. Yeah, something like that. It's just like a little turret you set up.
MAPS?
Yeah, MAPS. It's just like a little turret that you set up, which is supposed to destroy incoming like rockets and shells and stuff. So it's meant to be like active defense, only from guys, I guess. And I set that up a couple of times, and basically I spent 1 round doing nothing but trying to set that up and see if I can get it to do what it was meant to do. Because the trouble is, I can't tell whether it's fully automatic or whether you still have to be looking through the camera like you would with a soft lam.
Sure. Or
whether it is like the soft lam, it is automatic. So I couldn't really tell. But I'm not actually sure what use that thing even is. It'd probably be pretty funny if you wanted to piss off people who are trying to RPG all the time.
Oh, yeah, true. You could just, block them and go, no. Will it stop something like a tank shell? Or?
I think it's meant to, but that's even harder to tell. The main problem with it, of course, is that due to this, awesome power of being able to stop all these explosives, it's incredibly obvious. It's like you set it up and it makes a loud beeping noise, and it just has a giant green light that illuminates the surroundings.
Ah, no, I have seen that. I think I've seen those about, actually, now that I think about it.
But I'm not really sure how much use that would be.
Perhaps.
If only you could do like you used to be able to in Battlefield 3 in some cases and set it up on top of a vehicle.
Yeah.
That'd be a real bastard.
That would be amazing. Just make the question, why wouldn't you? If Battlefield was real, wouldn't you just attach that thing to the top of a tank?
Probably in real life, I bet it has. I bet probably the way it would work is it has to be stationary in order to be able to scan the environment for moving projectiles.
Maybe,
presumably.
Perhaps. Will it shoot down birds if it saw a bird go too fast past it?
Yeah, that'd be weird. But yeah, so that was that. The mortar might be theoretically useful, maybe. It's kind of hard to tell.
Perhaps. I just like saying perhaps.
Perhaps.
Perhaps, me.
Is that your perhaps version? Perhaps.
Perhaps.
I still have a lot of goddamn MAV. That's what I want.
Yeah.
My spotting. And I've only ever seen a couple of people using those as well.
Yeah.
But that is right at the end of the recon tree. I haven't even got the TUGS yet, so I can't have scanning.
Yeah. Tugs.
I totally want that because that's actually useful as well. Because the scan grenades you get are just complete suck.
That's going to be the name of my new hero, in a video game, Tugs Mapaps. He's a down on his luck detective.
Tugs Mapaps.
That should be my next MMO name. Next time we need to make
You'll never remember that.
No, probably not.
You'll probably end up with some IC related thing.
ice cold cuts, or chili hot bits.
Yep.
Or Classico Penguino.
Which game are you Classico Penguino in?
This is all Guild Wars.
No, Classico
right.
Penguino was PlanetSide.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'm trying to think what the other one. Oh, there's like Freezer section.
Yeah, freezer section.
It's like one of those PlanetSide guys.
Classico Penguino is clearly the best one.
Classico Penguino.
Oh dear.
It was quite funny playing PlanetSide and just imagining people getting the kill cam. It was like, you were killed by Freezer section.
Oh. You guys haven't played PlanetSide for a while then?
No, for a long time.
I wonder what that's even like now. I wonder how far they got through their progress of trying to implement like weird multi-continent and ship battles and stuff.
Oh yeah, I forgot they were doing all that. Oh yeah, that's right.
So is that your
impression?
your games for the week? Cool.
I can't remember. It seems like there should be more.
Oh! You guys should totally see the Lego movie.
Yeah.
I want to so badly.
It's friggin' awesome.
Who am I going to go with? I need to. Who's going to watch a kids' film?
It's awesome.
Let's see. Everything is awesome, so I hear.
Apparently, everything is cool when you're part of a team.
Indeed. Yeah. There's so many good people in that, like in the voice cast and stuff. And I love Lego, so it's clearly going to be the best.
They really play to it. It's like,
yeah.
It's very good. It's very fast. It's very funny. But they do. You can't help but you kind of know where it's going, and then you can't help but shake the feeling in your back of your mind. It's like this is just one massive advert, isn't it?
Yeah.
That I'm paying to see.
That's cool.
But it is good fun.
Noted.
I couldn't help but wonder. Like, I think it's all CG, but like they do try and keep to the idea of it being as much as possible, making it look like it's just been made out of real bricks. Yeah,
you can see all the like imperfections in the bricks and the way they're scuffed and stuff, and if they're
and like even when they do an effect, like someone dramatically entering a room or something, they'll make smoke out of bricks and stuff, and
awesome.
They'll very very rarely use like a visual effect.
Or what looks like a visual effect, because the whole thing's a giant CG fest, but in a cool way.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Smoke made of bricks, that's cool. Yes.
Whoosh.
Are you going to see the Wes Anderson film? I hear that's really good.
I haven't yet. It's kind of on our list of things we do want to see.
Yeah. Apparently Ray Fiennes is really good. So.
Oh wow! I was just reading up on the. So I just opened this like new question that was on the Pokebank FAQ that sounds kind of nuts. It's like if your Pokebank subscription expires and you still have stuff in the Pokebank, it will be deleted
eventually after an unspecified period of time.
Yeah,
that's why I got rid of everything out there.
Yeah, good idea.
I had to get that done before my trial expired.
Oh, by the way, Ho wrote an article for a feminist blog about, well, she got it published by a feminist blog about some Japanese game with lots of boobs and how it was offensive. Let me see if I can find it.
Wait. Is she writing it in from the stance that a Japanese game with lots of boobs is a new thing?
No, it's
it clearly
just that
isn't.
I think she was just particularly offended by like a particular like marketing lady who was talking about it and trying to make it say it would appeal to you because it has these deep characters and stuff. It's like, well, no, clearly not. It's called Senran Kagura Burst. There we go. Have you heard of this? It's like it's on the 3D. Senran. There we go. It's on the 3DS and it's been released in the UK. You know, it's promoted by Nintendo presumably, but yet it is quite not good, let's say. So check that out. It's on Exo Jane, and we'll post it on. We'll retweet it from Happy Salad or
All
something.
right. Okay. Immediately.
Oh yeah, I do remember seeing that on the 3DS shop.
Holy crap.
I recognise that one. That's the image on the icon, and I was like, wow, that's on the 3DS.
Wait,
Yeah,
what, that?
Exactly.
No, the one down to the left.
Oh, that.
No,
This.
right,
Right, what?
that one.
This one.
That one.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Getting it. Yeah, okay. So yes, enjoy that article because it was quite funny.
I wonder if that has a demo.
Jesus. I hope
Of
not.
course, now we just kind of like, it's just like, really? It just, how bad is it then? Like,
Pretty bad from what I can tell from what she's saying.
some of these pictures are just like, what the fuck?
Exactly. So there you
What
go.
is it, like, hang on. I haven't actually quite worked out what the game even is. Is it like,
It's like
an Odin Sphere thing?
It's a
or-
brawler, like side-scrolling thing.
Yeah. Not that any of these pictures are really showing that.
No, it's all just
It's
all just the anime boob
It's
stuff.
about 10% actual gameplay.
And mostly moves. It's so stupid. I don't know.
Saladcast recommended.
Recommend you don't play that, but I do recommend you read the article about it because it's interesting.
And where is that article?
It's on ExoJane, which is exojane.com. So check that out. It's a feminist blog. But we'll
So did we get away with our jokes last week that we were like reiterating from Harry Enfield?
yeah, but
this blog didn't pull us up for going, women, know your place.
yeah, but that's a joke. That's the whole point of that. Is how ridiculous it is to say that anyone ever thought like that. That's the whole deal. That's why that's so funny, that Harry Enfield sketch. So
It's
because
quite
it's
funny.
so absurd.
We're good for another week then. We're going to
Definitely.
get shut down by the feminist police.
Not yet.
Not yet.
The feminist police. Well, I hope the police have plenty of feminists in.
Really? Or shouldn't they really have, I don't know, equalitists?
Well, it's the same thing in many ways if you think about it. Sort of social justice.
I suppose it depends. Like, I don't know, you do hear of, I don't know, you would hope, yeah, I guess, but, the whole point of feminism is for equal rights, but I would kind of, you do have, like, I don't know, feminism is also associated with those that are like, women are better! Fuck you guys!
Yeah, that's like radical feminism and stuff. Some of them say some crazy shit, but
Is it like,
they're in the minority.
what would you call it? Like, what do they call, like, terrorists? Like, fanatics, I guess. Like, is it fanatical
Yeah.
feminism?
Fanatical, yeah, exactly. Fanatical anything is bad, right?
Generally.
I can't think of anything that would be good if you were a fanatic about it.
But
That's
that's
kind of-
like, but if we're fans of video games, are we video game fanatics?
I don't
Or-
think so.
Isn't that just what fan is short for?
I don't think so. Tried to look fan up on freaking.
The etymology of fan. A small instrument used for cooling oneself with wind.
It's true. Oh dear. A fan, sometimes also called aficionado or supporter. Etymology.
Classico aficionado. penguin.
Classico penguino. Aficionado. Yeah, that's what I am. You're Classico penguino. I'm Classico penguino aficionado.
Boyo.
It says
Oh, you
fan-
need to be as Welsh, and then you can add boyo on the end.
Boyo. It says
Classico
fan is
penguino
derived
aficionado,
from fancy.
What?
From fancy.
Doesn't make any sense.
I fancy video games.
Okay, I guess that makes a tiny amount of sense, but not.
If it's your fancy,
It
in
takes
the kind
my
of,
fancy.
yeah, exactly.
I guess. Although that's not how I'd use that phrase at all.
Not these
You don't
days.
you don't say I'm a fancy of that.
I am.
No, that's where it comes from. It's not contracted from. Well, it is, but it's not like it doesn't literally mean the same as this fancy. It's just that's where it comes from, derived from.
Wow, very fancy. Much fanaticism.
Although Merriam-Webster and the Oxford Dictionary and various other sources define it as a shortened version of fanatic. So there you go. You were right, according to those guys.
Boob scrolls. I've got to turn this off. It's mesmerising. Just how ridiculous it all is. That's one crazy Google page.
So stupid. I can't believe Nintendo put that Nintendo See the Quality thing on crap like that. It's ridiculous. It's like,
hey, Iwata gets his kick somehow. I don't think Mario can provide.
Didn't you get given like Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball as a present, or did you buy it? I can't remember.
No, I got given the first beach volleyball for Xbox.
What the hell? That was so stupid.
I quite liked the actual fighter, but yeah. Just yeah. And I did have Kip's copy of Extreme 2 for a laugh for a bit. I played it once and realised this is actually worse.
Did he buy it then? Did he buy Extreme?
No, I don't know. I don't know where Kip's got his copy from. But
somebody did.
Somebody at some point bought a copy.
Bought that game. Oh, so tragic. It was the way when you zoomed it knew where you wanted to zoom to already.
Default zoom position.
So stupid.
And then every time you did it, you're like, "Oh, adjust." There's other people in the room.
Really? Other people in the room while you're playing that game? I don't know.
Comedy. It is comedy. You can't resist.
Dear me. So next time it's the start of a new season.
It is. This is the last episode of season 4. We've officially been doing this 4 years.
4 years. Let's see if we can make it 5. Oh yeah, Titanfall will dominate the next one, I expect.
Yep, season 5 kicked off with a orbital drop.
With an orbital drop. Boom. I don't know what
there's an update. There's a season outtake reel to do.
Another one.
I will post up season 3.
Are you sure you posted season 2? I still don't remember. Oh no, wait.
Season 2 went up.
Yeah, there's at least 2.
3 didn't, I don't think. And we'll have to start on I don't know. We may have made a start on 4.
We may have done.
I'll put the finishing touches to my jazz intro.
Yes, it's time for the jazz season, indeed.
Oh, I've just ruined the surprise.
No, it's cool. I'm sure the composition itself will be speak for itself.
Shit.
What?
Jazz club. Shite.
Shite. I forgot completely about that sketch. That was awesome. Great.
Nice.
Shit. Oh dear.
So yeah, there's that to come. There's new videos up on the YouTube channel for.
Oh yeah.
That's not jazz. Get it out.
I don't know what this is.
Get out. It's not jazz.
No, I'll choose a jazz. That was called Uplift. I'll find a jazz one for next time.
Do you feel uplifted?
Not really. It was a bit turgid, don't you think?
What? Full of
it's
water.
A bit slow. It wasn't that uplifting. I don't know. I think it was because the music was combining with. Yeah, a little bit. It was the music was kind of combining with the vibration to not really work. So yes, we've reached the end of another Saladcast.
There's a
new video, yes,
I was
indeed.
just plugging, yes, part 17 of the Final Fantasy gameplay marathon. Yeah. The Pagoda of the 5 Mighty Giants has been... Mighty Giants? Mighty Gods has been uploaded. And also, the return to the Worms battle is there. Zach and I play Worms 2. In possibly the least professional video we've made thus far.
It wasn't our fault.
No.
It's like Worms 2 launches in such a weird way, so it doesn't capture the menu, so you just get bits where it just doesn't show anything, it just has done pictures of us, help me. And then also at one point, Rob's randomly changing desktop picture in Windows 7.
Oh no, that doesn't turn up in the video.
No, that's what I'm going to say. It somehow screwed up the images of the game, which the video didn't record, but it did record us on the voice going, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, all the colours are screwed up. What's going on?
Awesome.
You probably can't see any of this, and it's like, no, they can't.
Well, they can, because it looks totally fine, right?
Well, yeah, but they can't see what we're
it's not fucked.
seeing. So, like, at the end of the round, it's like, oh, the colours have come back. Except, like, they're exactly the same.
Yeah.
Wow. So much to look forward to seeing. The reaction of you guys to everything not screwing up. Awesome. Okay, I'll be sure to tune into that, and you should too, listeners.
Yes, don't forget to check out the Facebook page. And I had to look this up because I now know what the actual address is for the Facebook page. It's facebook.com/happysaladnet. Because someone already has Happy Salad, goddamn.
Salad net. Okay.
Like
oh, that
the
makes
website.
sense. Like .net.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Go to happysalad.net for more content from us. No one else, just us. And also, the YouTube channel is the same.
I don't think you can say go to happysalad.net on the podcast that only exists on happysalad.net.
You can get it on iTunes and
you
on
can technically, but
I think that's probably where most people find that stuff, isn't it?
I think you can get it through like Podcast Lounge. I don't know what like provider that uses to find stuff, but it knew about the Saladcast.
Yeah.
On my Windows phone.
I'm just looking at the I was just checking, but you know that rapper I like, Kitty or whatever. Her Facebook fan page is still facebook.com/Sonic Mega Collection.
Awesome.
I don't know how long she can keep that. Anyway, it's quite funny.
And the Twitter handle is @Saladcast. Still.
Indeed. Stay tuned for tweets and.
Well, basically, I only ever tweet when like we upload something because WordPress does it for me.
Yeah, but you get notifications of new Saladcasts, new videos, and other shit.
Yeah.
So check that out.
Plugging bitches.
And we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do we get a note?
Turn that shit off.
Bye.